In this lesson, let's explore some reasons why you might want to consider adding multimedia to your blog. It would be very easy to put a blog together that just had all text, which can be kind of boring, and you can spice it up with photographs, and absolutely you should use graphics whenever possible. But you should also consider multimedia, so I just wanted to give you a few thoughts to think about when you're talking about adding multimedia to a blog or website, some of the things to consider. First of all, you have content to deliver and a message to convey, so it's important that you get that message across as easily and effortlessly as possible. If someone has to sit and read a long, lengthy story, it's not going to keep their attention. But if you can present it in smaller chunks and add some different things to break it up, perhaps some audio clips or a short video here and there, it's much more digestible for your user. Your goal as a web designer, remember, is to wow your audience and give them interesting and compelling content. So again, instead of sitting and reading a newspaper, not to knock newspapers, of course, they're very important, but you want to break things up with photographs and, some graphics when you're creating a newspaper article, and it's the same kind of thing when you're creating a blog. You want to break things up and make it as interesting for your user as possible. Be cutting edge whenever possible, and that means using multimedia content and using it well. So you certainly don't want to add a video or some audio to your site that doesn't work or that takes forever to load. That actually can have the opposite effect. So you certainly want to do it well. Multimedia helps your blog or website be more interactive and engaging with your target audience. That's what it's all about these days when we're working with content online. We don't want people to just sit back and watch it. We want them to be engaged. It helps them to remember the content. We all know that video clips have proven they go viral very quickly. I've seen many of them that have been viewed by millions of people within, a couple of days, within a week, let's say. And so you definitely want to consider using that kind of content if you want to drive people to your site and help to get the word out. So these are just a couple things to consider, and basically the human brain responds more readily to multimedia content, meaning that it's much more interesting, it's much more eye-catching. If you want some more evidence of that, take a look at the children's cartoons that we see every day. They're much more engaging and interactive than the cartoons that we had when I was a child. They're much more in your face, so things are moving much faster. You definitely want to keep in mind you don't want your videos or audio clips to be too long. That can have the negative effect on people. But if you can keep it interesting and compelling, you're going to keep your audience more engaged, and they're more likely to come back and visit your site more often. In this lesson, let's take a look at a new multimedia tag in HTML5 called the audio tag. So I'm in the Lesson 7 folder, and I've opened from the Lesson 7 folder in both the Start and the End folder. I've opened the contact form. So I'm in my HTML editor of choice, which is Dreamweaver, and again I've gone into the Lesson 7 folder, and I've gone into the End folder and opened Contact End, and into the Start folder, and I've opened Contact Start. What I've done is in the end one, I added an audio clip that I recorded, and I set it to automatically play when that page opens in the browser. So let's go take a look at it. I've got it open here in my browser, so let me just play it again. With a total of 31 covered bridges, Park County, Indiana is known as the covered bridge capital of the world. So that's a little audio clip that I set to automatically play, and we're going to go in and add that to our start file so that it matches the end file. So from our start file, let's go in. I'm in split view mode in Dreamweaver, so I can actually see my code and my design at the same time. If your HTML editor doesn't allow you to do that, it's all right. We're just going to be working with the code anyway. Go down to where the body section starts, and you can always do a search for it if you can't find it. Remember that the body starts right after the head finishes. In my case, it's around line 11. And here we're going to go in and actually start working with our audio element. So we're going to go in here and start typing just right inside the body section. I'm going to do my open bracket and type audio. And I'm going to hit return and then do a space. And the first thing we want to do is tell it where the source is. So again, our attribute is going to be source, and our value in my case is going to be in the movies folder. So movies / and the file is called bridges ._audio, and it's a WAV file, so .wav to finish that off. So that's my audio element. I added a source attribute, and the value is the movies folder / bridges_audio.wav. And then we're going to do one more in there. We're going to do autoplay is another attribute. So autoplay equals, and then the value is also autoplay. And then at the very end of that one, we're going to put our close bracket to finish it off. And then one more thing we need to add is our end tag. So we have our end audio tag. So I have the audio element, I have an attribute of source, the value where it's located. Another attribute is autoplay, and the value of that one is also autoplay. And then I just simply need to end my audio tag. So I've told it where to find the file, and I've told it to play automatically. So I'm going to go in here and do a save. And let's go preview it in the browser and see if it works. With a total of 31 covered bridges, Park County, Indiana is known as the covered bridge capital of the world. So we've got our sound playing, so we went in and we added the new HTML5 audio element to our contact form to give it a little blurb of audio to play when the user lands on that page. In this lesson, let's talk about the exciting new video element in HTML5. In the past, whenever you wanted to view video on a web page, and a great example of that is YouTube, the video is embedded in the web page, but it requires a third-party plugin to be able to view it. Examples would be QuickTime, Adobe Flash, or RealPlayer. And that works great, except when you are working on a device such as a tablet that doesn't support that plugin, and then it just simply won't play the video. So in HTML5, we have a new element called the video element for embedding the video on the web page. It works differently, and we'll be going through that in this chapter. The video element just simply looks like this, the word video with angle brackets around it, and we can add attributes and values to that tag. Now it's still brand new, and it's not completely supported by all the browsers in every format at this time. Every browser and operating system that you see here supports it in one way or another, but they require different formats to be able to support it fully. So we're going to do a little exercise adding a video using the video element in this chapter, but I'm going to give you some resources on how you can explore more about the video element as it gets more and more perfected. In this lesson, let's take a look at the video element, the new element in HTML5 that allows you to embed your video. Previously in HTML, we had to use an external player such as Flash Player or QuickTime to view our movies. Now in HTML5, you can embed it directly within the web page, but it does have its limitations. So what happens now is you have to give it multiple versions of the same file, and it gets a little tricky. So it might be a little advanced for this workshop, but I wanted to at least show it to you. So I'm in the Lesson 7 folder, and I've opened the file called drive.html. I have some video that I created with my iPhone when I was in Indiana of me driving across the covered bridge, which, by the way, I really don't recommend doing while you're filming. So I'm in my code, and I'm going to use my split view up here so that I can see my code and see my design at the same time. And I'm going to click into my code and do my edit, find, and replace, and look for the video. So I just wanted to show you in here, here's the video tag. This is an attribute, which is the width, and an attribute, which is the height, which you need to put in there. So you need to know the width and height of your video. I've added another attribute called controls so that the playback controls will be available. And I also added another one called poster. And I took a PNG, an actual screenshot from the movie, so that there's something on the web page for people to be able to see. And these are my 3 different source codes for the 3 different types of movies that I've applied. So I have an OGV, I have an MP4, and I have an FLV. So this should cover my bases on most of the browsers, but in this particular case, it's not playing in Safari. So I wanted to show you it's working in Google Chrome and it's working in Firefox. So I want to show you what it's going to look like. So I'm going to preview it in Google Chrome. And there's my video. Okay, so here I'm going to try to drive over this bridge while I'm filming. God. So this is me driving across the bridge. So you can see it playing very nicely in Chrome. And I'll show you what it looks like in Firefox. So I'll preview it here in Firefox. Okay, so here I'm going to try to drive over this bridge. It's giving me the playback controls, and I also have control over here over the volume if I want. That's working great. But it's not playing for Safari because I don't have the right format in here. So I want to show you what will happen in Safari. So here I get the poster, but the movie isn't playing because I don't have the right format loaded. So at this particular time, it's a little tricky to make sure that it's going to play on all of the browsers. I've got it playing in Google Chrome and I've got it in Firefox. But as this video element gets developed more, you'll actually see it playing better in other browsers. But for now, I've got it playing in the 2 main ones. So I just wanted to share that with you. So we're not really working with the code in here, but I just wanted to demonstrate for you exactly what the video element looks like in HTML5.